Hi guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Now that we're in November, we are in cranberry season. I take this time from November to December to make all the cranberry dishes that I want and to preserve some cranberries. If you wait until after Thanksgiving, you can get some really great deals on cranberries. Usually they're marked down to 99 cents a bag. I'm just excited to get started, so I'm starting now. Oh, also if you live near an Aldi, I don't know why, but Aldi just sells them for 99 cents a bag all the time, which is much less than they're marked for at my local grocery store right now. So today we're gonna make three things. We're gonna make cranberry sauce, which is super easy and way more tasty than that stuff that comes out of the can. I'm hosting an early Thanksgiving for my family, so this is perfect for me to get into the fridge. We're also gonna can some cranberry juice. If you've never canned anything before, this is an easy one to start with. I can this every year. And then we're gonna finish up with something I've been wanting to try, and that's putting on some cranberries and honey to ferment. So let's get started. For the cranberry sauce, we start off with a 12-ounce bag, but I washed all my cranberries and mixed them all together, so I'm measuring out 3 cups. That's about equal to a 12-ounce bag. Then I'm adding in half a cup of that fresh squeezed orange juice, half a cup of water, zest from 1 orange, and 3/4 cup sugar. I'm usually a minimalist when it comes to sugar. I try to use as little as possible, but with cranberries, they're so tart. There's just no way around it for me. They have to be sweetened. So you can use less than 3/4 cup if you like. You can also try swapping in things like maple syrup if you want to avoid cane sugar, but I wouldn't skip sweetening cranberries. Plus it's Thanksgiving. It's time for feasting. We can relax dietary concerns for this day. I've been thinking this year about how Thanksgiving kind of hits differently now that we are homesteading. I really do feel the gratitude for the harvests of the summer. It was, the summer is the biggest hustle of the year when you're gardening, and it's hard work, and it's so nice to see the weather turn and to see the pantry full and to know that the time to slow down and eat and celebrate has arrived. As the cranberries get hot, they will start to burst and release their juices, and they also contain pectin. So as they burst, that pectin will eventually thicken this, making it into that sort of jam-like consistency. I'd love to hear from you. Have you made cranberry sauce before? Or do you love the canned cranberry sauce? Is that the family tradition? You can see some of these have that line on them. They're starting to burst and release their juice. I'm pressing some of them against the side, just help them along in terms of breaking down. This has been on the heat for about 5 or 6 minutes. Everything's broken down and is starting to kind of gel and thicken a bit. So this is the time to take it off the heat and taste before putting it in the fridge. It's really orangey. I'm gonna add a little more sugar. This is totally to personal taste, so if you're horrified by a whole cup going in, you don't have to do this. But like I said, it's Thanksgiving. I'm gonna do it the way I want it. Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna put this in the fridge. In just a couple hours, this will thicken and have a sort of jelly consistency. Next up is the cranberry juice. I'm gonna make 1 batch of this today, but I'll probably keep making batches of this throughout the season. We love having this on our shelf just to have a convenient, clean juice on hand throughout the year. I also use it with unflavored gelatin to make Jell-O for my kids. It's a fraction of the cost of buying juice, so I just think this is a win. If you're a canning beginner, last year I made a step-by-step tutorial on canning cranberry juice that's especially beginner friendly, so you can check that out. I don't know, whichever side it'll be on. Otherwise, I'm just gonna walk through this one pretty quickly. It's not a hard recipe. So we just need cranberries. I've got my jars, they're warm. We'll need some sugar, and then I've got boiling water on the stove. So I'm starting off with 1.5 cups of cranberries in each jar. I've seen some people make this with 1 cup in each jar. I like the strength of juice that I get from 1.5 cups. This has worked best for me. Next, I'm adding in my sugar. You can add anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of sugar per quart jar. I'm gonna do 1/4 cup. The last step, I've got hot water here. I'm just gonna fill to a 1/2 inch headspace. You'll wanna heat a lot of water for this. You know, most canning recipes, you fill with substance and water fills in the crack, but here, the water is the thing we're after because it's going to become juice. So you'll want a really full pot. I've got a 7-quart pot here, and we'll probably need just about all of this. The cranberries float, so it's awkward to measure headspace because it's tough to decide what counts as the top. I aim for the liquid to be at 1/2 inch headspace. That's a pretty lineup. I'm gonna get lids and bands on. I'm using my 4 jars lids. They've done well for me. Been using them for about 2 years now. Bands are going on to fingertip tight. And I'm just gonna get this out of the way so I can load up my canning rack. I always load my rack outside the canner because otherwise I just knock it down in and splash myself and get burned. And these are going into the canner. It's at a rolling boil. I might even keep it. It's still boiling, but it's not at a rolling boil. I'll give it a minute to return. All right, we're back at a rolling boil. I'm gonna set a timer for 25 minutes. And while that processes, I'm gonna move on to my last recipe, the fermented cranberries. All right, cranberry honey ferment. I'm gonna start with putting a cinnamon stick in each jar. This is the very last of my cinnamon sticks. I'll need some more for Christmas cooking. I do use these. And then I'm also adding a few little slices of ginger to each jar. Then we're gonna fill with cranberries and top off with honey. Oh, I think I dropped one there. That's all right. I've been wanting to try this for a long time. And it's always, you know, a little anticlimactic making a video where you put on a ferment because no one gets to see the end result. So I will post the end result on Instagram. You can find me at The Heritage Homestead. If you're curious to see how this does, it should take about a month to fully ferment. All right, so I've got my cinnamon sticks, my ginger slices, and my cranberries. I'm topping off with honey. It is important to use raw honey for this. The pasteurized honey that you can buy at the store is heated, of course, that's what it is to be pasteurized, and that kills some of the bacteria that are necessary for the ferment. So this is a raw honey recipe. That distinction matters. I do not like handling honey. It's always a mess. Let's see. I think I need a funnel. I'm never sure what the least messy way is. I think I'm gonna risk it and actually pour from my gallon jar. I get this honey, oh geez. It's just backed up. It's gonna take some time to work its way down in. I was saying, oh, I get this honey from Azure. We go through a lot of honey, so it's worth it for us to just buy by the gallon, and it makes raw honey as affordable as buying a smaller amount of pasteurized honey from the store. So the honey's slowly filling in the gaps. I've got a few air bubbles here. With a ferment, it's essential that the solids be completely submerged. beneath liquid. My jars are filled with honey, and I just realized there's one more thing I meant to add before adding the honey. It's not a problem though. I need to add about a tablespoon of fruit juice to each jar. That's gonna help with the fermentation process. So I have some more of that fresh squeezed orange juice. I'm gonna put about a tablespoon in each jar and then just gently stir to incorporate. And I'm just gonna make sure that that juice is able to work its way down in. I can see the orange making its way down towards the bottom. This is good. It's getting incorporated. I'm really looking forward to trying this. If it's tasty, I can imagine popping some of these into some tea, maybe using some to make a salad dressing, even just garnishing my plate with them. A little something fermented on the side, along with dinner, so great for digestion. And they're also beautiful. You know, cranberries are kind of a Thanksgiving food, but also very much something I associate with Christmas. So maybe I'll put some of these in smaller jars and wrap a ribbon around and give them as gifts. You can see these cranberries really want to float. There's extra space at the bottom of each jar, but the cranberries are floating to the top and are above the level of the honey. With a ferment, the solids need to be submerged below the liquid. Solid sticking up above the liquid causes mold and will cause spoilage. So fortunately, I've got this box of weights. These little glass weights are perfect for holding things for this kind of situation. Oh no, what? I forgot that my weights are for wide mouth jars, not regular mouth. I'm actually gonna move these into wide mouth jars. I think that'll make everything easier. I definitely wanna use these weights for this, so it's worth it. That was worth taking the time to do. Now I can add my weights and use them to weigh down those cranberries and keep them below the level of the honey. And I have filled these jars pretty full, so I'm gonna keep these on a pan as they ferment, because there's a good chance they'll bubble out over. In the next few days, these should start to bubble. And like I said, I'm keeping them in a pan because there's a chance that they will spill out over as they bubble. It's important that they be covered in some way, but that they not be covered and sealed because they need to release gases. Hopefully in a month, these will be delicious. The cranberry juice is ready to come out of the canner, so let me grab that. I've actually misplaced my grabbers, so I'm just going to use a towel. There's so much gear that you can get for canning, but I find it comforting to remember that there's also many ways that you can work without standard gear. It's cool how you can see this line as the cranberries start to infuse the water. It's gonna work its way down over the next few hours till everything's red. These will need 6 weeks to fully infuse and become juice. They'll start to get darker each week and they'll taste good in 2 or 3 weeks, but it's fully infused after that 6. For us, when it's time to have the juice, I pop it open and strain out the cranberries. We drink the juice or use it in cooking. And then the cranberries I often give to the chickens. My mom uses the cranberries for her second ferment when she makes kombucha, which I thought was a great idea. I hadn't thought to try that, and it's worked really well for her. So the cranberries don't have to be trash, but they've already given up a lot of their essence to the juice, so they could be tossed into a compost pile too. The last thing I want to show you is the texture of this cranberry sauce. Now that it's been in the fridge for a couple hours, you can see it's really thickened up. And I've decided to add some cinnamon to it just to give it a little more depth and interest. But this is so delicious, and this took me about 10 minutes to make. Oddly enough, cranberry sauce isn't a Thanksgiving staple for my family. If it weren't on the table, I doubt anyone would ask about it. But We do have it sometimes, and I'm excited about how tasty this is, so I'm gonna serve it anyways. I'm curious what your Thanksgiving must-haves are. What would need to be on the table in order for everyone to feel like they've had a Thanksgiving? If you give any of these recipes a try, be sure to let me know. I'd love to hear about it. Also, if you're curious about making a cranberry orange jam, I have a video on that. It's a low sugar jam, and I love to eat it with brie on crackers. So that's one of the few jams that I make this time of year. I hope you're doing well and you're getting some time to cook if that's what you enjoy, or if nothing else, to eat and to find some slow moments in the upcoming week. Take care.